Hi, I'm Larissa, and this is Soviet Childhood. In 1941 Leningrad, preserving a normal childhood became a luxury few civilians could afford. Today we will take a look at how childhood was disrupted by wartime for a generation of Soviet children. Children were depicted as both contributors to the war effort and victims of Nazi brutality. They became witnesses to mass tragedy that contrasted an imagined great patriotic war. Civilians suffered as their villages were leveled by 1941 German air raids. In the Ukrainian countryside, a father and his son watch in horror as their village burns in front of them. These three Russian orphans also express the emotions of shock and confusion at what remained of their home. This 1942 photograph was taken after their parents had been escorted away by German soldiers as prisoners of war. With many mothers and fathers absent, children were forced to fend for themselves. On the other hand, Soviet newsreel footage strove to show patriotic children who actively participated in the war effort. These boys in Odessa, Ukraine, fortified barricades to hinder German tanks. Child factory workers had to assume the role of adults, like these young girls tasked with assembling submachine guns, so adult workers could enlist in the army. Yet for many children, survival was above patriotic duty. In Leningrad, near constant air attacks threatened the hundreds of thousands of children who were not yet evacuated. In the words of historian Julie de Graffenried, the combination of German bombings and poor state planning created conditions of incredible scarcity in Leningrad, especially for injured children who needed resources like food and medicine. Even the evacuation process was uncertain and high risk. Boats carrying mostly children evacuees were easy targets for German planes. These children await the grueling trek by train out of Leningrad. Lice infestations, disease, and extreme temperatures worsened the conditions inside small boxcars. Since most of the city of Stalingrad had been destroyed, the children who remained lived in tent cities. Those that survived were expected to help rebuild after the war. Like other countries during World War II, the Soviet Union also placed the welfare of its children beneath other wartime priorities. With little time to recover from the hardships of World War II, children assisted in the effort to rebuild. In this 1946 footage, after the war, child survivors play among the wreckage of Stalingrad. For some of them, their only memories had been shaped by wartime, and children who survived were burdened with the task of rebuilding from the destruction that they had witnessed.